What's up, everyone? And today I'm doing a deck profile on my Ursarctics. Now, Ursarctics did get some support recently, and they actually got some pretty good support, which definitely makes the deck a lot better, and it does have a lot more potential now. Without further ado, let's get right into it. So first off, we have 3 Make Polar. Now, all the Ursarctics have a quick effect during the main phase. We contribute one other level 7 or higher monster from your hand, special summon this card from your hand. And the level 7s have effects when they are summoned. Make Polar, when Make Polar is special summoned, you can add one Ursarctic monster from your deck to your hand. The Mectanus allows you to add one from graveyard to your hand, and Mecbilus allows you to special summon from your hand an Ursarctic monster. So I'd say the level 7s are better going first, whereas the level 8s are better going second, at least effect wise. Make Polar is definitely your favorite of the bunch, but one of the new cards, the Ultimate Bright Knight Ursartron Alpha. It's like a mix between Ursarctics and Drytrons, which they're trying to mix these two archetypes together. I don't really know why. They didn't even come out on the same set. Regardless, Alpha is really good, considering when it's summoned you can search one Drytron or Ursarctic spell, which is definitely really good. Because the Ursarctic spells are really good, especially Radiation, which if you read Radiation, yeah, it's really busted. Also run 2 copies of Megabilis, or 3 copies of Megabilis, 3 Megatanus, and 1 Megapolar. The Megabilis and Megatanus have a better effect than Megapolar, but you want to have at least a good number of both the tuners and the non-tuners. The level 7s are the non-tuners and the level 8s are the tuners. And the way this deck works is a little bit different because you synchro summon using the level difference rather than the total level. So like the Megapolar is, for example, level 8 and Megapolar is level 7. So you'd be looking at like a really high level synchro, which those don't exist. So instead you use the level difference, like the level difference between them is 1, which is a really neat sort of mechanic. Also, you cannot activate the effective monsters that do not have a level, so you cannot use link monsters and you cannot use XYZ monsters. But pendulums, rituals, fusions, all that works. Now, I've noticed that a lot of Ursarctic builds are running this, which I don't really get why, and that is the 3 barrier statue of the Torrent. Outside of Tearlaments, how many popular water decks are there? Yeah, none outside of that. So this is definitely really good for locking your opponent. Obviously, it doesn't really do a whole lot against Tearlament, but against anything else, Rescue Age, Unchained, Vanadium, like this is going to really limit your opponent on what they can do. At the very least, they're not going to be able to kill you, and they're going to have to go do all their stuff in main phase too, at the very least. And this doesn't hurt us at all because mostly all we run are waters, and this deck does not normal summon at all. So we just had a free normal summon to put in there. Obviously, you don't want to do this. You can put in something like Invoked or the Adventure Engine, which are both 2 other engines that don't really require the use for normal summon, but we don't really have the space for an entire engine. That's why I just run the 3 barrier statue. Next, I run 2 copies of Eldritch the Golden Lord. Now you're probably thinking, why are we running Eldritch in Ursarctic? Well, it's more or less because of Radiation. Also running 3 Ash Blossom for hand traps. I also was running Nibiru, which is definitely an option, considering it's a level 7 or higher, which the Ursarctics, they don't have to necessarily discard themselves. Like, it's essentially just a level 7 or higher monster, which is usually the Ursarctic, but you know, it works with the Eldritch, it works with Nibiru. So Nibiru is also an option for a hand trap if you do want to run it. I just didn't really have the room for Nibiru. Going on to the spells, I run 3 Ursarctic Radiation. This is where Eldritch comes in. So Ursarctic Radiation is absolutely insane. Once you activate this card, you can play 7 counters on it, and every time you special summon an Ursarctic monster from your hand or the extra deck, you can draw a card by removing a counter. So you can possibly draw up to 7 cards, and that is absolutely insane. The downside to this is that you can only control one of these once per turn, or you can only control 1. So if you burn through all the counters in 1 radiation, then that radiation is stuck on the field, which is why I run Golden Lord. Because the Golden Lord, if it's in the graveyard, you can pop the radiation to special summon it, and then you can activate another radiation to do all this again. So definitely really cool. Next, I run 3 Ursarctic Departure. Parch is really good. It's basically like a 2. It's a 1 for 2. Discard 1 card to add 2 Ursarctic monsters from your deck to your hand. If you attribute a monster to activate an Ursarctic monster's effect, except to turn this card essentially graveyard, you can banish this card and graveyard instead, which is kind of like what the field spell does. This is definitely good if your hand is less than desirable. Like, let's say, for example, your opening hand, as for Ursarctics, all you have is, let's say, Mictanus, for example. You can use that to grab yourself a big polar and alpha, or a tuner and a non-tuner. It really depends on your hand. Like if you have the radiation, then you're more or less going to go for the tuner and non-tuner. Also run in 1 slider, which is a monster 1 for Ursarctics. Big Dipper. Big Dipper, if an Ursarctic monster would tribute a monster to activate its effect, you banish 1 level 7 or higher monster, or one level 7 or higher Ursarctic monster from your graveyard instead. Additionally, each time a monster is spell summoned, place 1 counter on this card. Once per turn, if a monster is spell summoned and our Ursarctic nature monsters on the field, you can remove all counters from this card, then target one monster your opponent controls, take control of it. So it becomes a change of heart if it has at least 7 counters and your opponent summons a monster, which is definitely really cool. And the thing is, this is searchable through your deck because of the Ursarctic Polari, which activates it directly from deck. Also run 2 copies of Small World. This is more or less to get to the barrier statue, because any Ursarctic plus Small World gives you a barrier statue, because the only thing they have in common is water. Different levels, different types, different attacks and defense. So the only thing combining them is water. I also run 1 Call by the Grave, because you really don't want to get hand trapped. And 1 Curse Outland, to search out Eldritch. You could also play a 3rd copy of the Golden Lord. That's also an option, which is probably what I would do if I had another copy of it. And as for traps, 3 Emperor. Pretty simple. Moving on to the extra deck, I run 3 copies of Polari. Now, Polari, as I mentioned before, can activate the Big Dipper directly from the deck, but additionally, you contribute 1 Ursarctic monster control to summon another Ursarctic monster from your graveyard. And that's definitely really good. Like, let's say you need the Mictanus effect to add 1 into your hand. You can use that, or you can go into you can grab 1 of your tuners, which could then give you access to the Ursarctic, the high Ursarctic Synchros, or just any rank 9, not rank 9, the level 9 Synchro. Next, I run 3 copies of Polar Star. Polar Star is pretty cool. You contribute 1 level 7, or you contribute 1 level 8 Ursarctic monster from your hand or field, and this card. Special summon 1 level 7 or 1 level 7 Ursarctic Synchro monster from your extra deck, ignoring the summoning conditions. If you do, it gains this effect. Your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters with a level that were special summoned from the extra deck. So basically, it completely shuts off Synchros and Infusions, and I guess Pendulums to an extent as well, which is nice, but I feel like most extra decks usually use XYZ monsters and Link monsters. It really depends on the deck. Like, obviously this is going to be really good against something like Branded Despia. Next, I run the 2 copies of Serpentreon. The effect gained by Polari is almost kind of like what Serpentreon already has, just a little bit stronger, because Serpentreon, you get the effect of all face-up monsters with a level that were spell summoned from the extra deck. Also run Grand Chariot, which is a little bit of protection, if it's targeted. Also run the 1 Navy Dragon Mech, 1 Shen, and 1 Crocodile Dragon. Just some pretty good level 9 Synchros. Although Crocodile Dragon is probably the more important of the 3. If you have the barrier statue and you have a bunch of cards in your hand which you could get from radiation, then this will essentially protect your statue. So because on summon you can draw a card equal to the number of tuners used for synchro summon, which is going to be 1. But additionally, it has a quick effect where you can discard 2 cards, target a card in the field, destroy it. So if you have a barrier statue on the field, what your opponent's going to try to do is they are going to try to attack over it, since it only has 1000 attack, and you can use the Crocodile Dragon to protect it, because then they've used up a normal summon and they can't really do much of anything. Lastly, I run 1 Baron de Fleur and 1 Psychic End Punisher, and lastly 1 area. Not that we're likely to summon, just in case I need to get rid of the barrier statue. That's it for my Ursarctics. What do you think of Ursarctics? Think it's pretty cool? Think it's got potential? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.